The Jersey Devil, the Bunny Man, sewer gators. Urban legends like these have haunted many despite their surreal descriptions, but the children of the early 2000s to the early 2010s grew up with nightmares that weren't told to them, but instead were within their screens. Online games were hubs for players to have fun, interact with others, and just be a way to escape from the outside world. Yet all may not be as innocent as initially thought. These games sometimes had figures of fear that terrified many kids, including myself. From kids' MMO boogeymen like Roblox's John Doe and the Webkinz Killer, to ghost sightings in games such as Minecraft, Gmod, and Halo. Were they real? Where did they come from? Why did they scare us so much? I think it's time we find the answers to all those questions. Hi, hello. If you're new here, feel free to skip to the next timestamp, but for those of you still here, let's address the elephant in the room. This is a compilation of all 3 Urban Legends videos I've made, so there are 2 reasons for this video existing. For one, part 1 has over 1 million views, which to me is still crazy. Parts 2 and 3 don't have as much, and I still get comments on part 1 asking for Herobrine and Cool Kid, even though they were in the other parts. So yeah, this compilation serves as a good way to give more attention to those other parts. The other reason this video exists is because October is a very hectic month for me, so I decided to take a step back while making sure you guys get something good for the month of Halloween. Sorry for taking up much of your time, let's go on with the show. Webkinz was a game that released in 2005 by the company Gans, who made the stuffed animals of the same name. These stuffed animals would have digital counterparts to explore the lobby, be customized, and taken care of, and also get involved in various mini-games. All seems nice and innocent, right? Well, actually, Webkinz is home to one of the most notorious myths in gaming, the Webkinz Killer. Our story begins in 2007, where stories of this myth were starting to emerge, though it was always being told differently. Some stories spoke of the Webkinz Killer being in the form of an evil penguin with red eyes that would lay waste to a user's Webkinz, displaying blood and guts, before eventually destroying the user's computer. Other descriptions of the Webkinz Killer included a chihuahua or a bear holding a knife. One common scenario regarding the Webkinz Killer revolves around different colored boxes. Some stories of the box included a bomb that, when clicked, would end up exploding the Webkinz. Others were described in the following emails. My children came home from school today and all the talk in 1st and 2nd grade was of some kind of Webkinz malware. A black, red, or yellow box appears in your Webkinz world. If you click on the black box, a Neopet pops out with a knife and chops off your Webkinz's head off. The red box does the same thing. If you click on a yellow box, you lose your Webkinz's possessions and money. It sounds like a legend to me, but little kids are telling my kids, this happened to me, not sure what to think. The Webkinz virus thing is totally true. It happened to 2 half of my friends on Webkinz. There's either some kind of gift on the floor or some kind of bomby thingy. It pops out like a gift. Then Dr. Quack or Miss Birdie pops up. Lights go out, red eyes come. It makes slashing noises on your computer. And then the lights turn on and your Webkinz are dead on the floor with blood on them. You probably think that Webkinz people would never do that. But you are right, but Neopets would. Why? Because they got angry that everyone went on Webkinz and nobody went on Neopets anymore. So they hacked into Webkinz and put some kind of virus. It is pretty scary for kids, so be careful with what you do with your Webkinz. And don't go to your room. Like seen in the email shown earlier, the 2 biggest culprits behind who the Webkinz Killer could be were Miss Birdie and Dr. Quack, but sometimes Miss Tabby would be thrown into the mix. The NPCs of Webkinz had an uncanny mix between looking animal-like and human, and it didn't help that they were always staring right into your soul. It's only right rumors would spread about these 2 having something sinister to hide. Miss Tabby, who was the employment office operator, had the least popular of the rumors, with accounts stating that she'd shoot your Webkinz. Miss Birdie was the NPC that ran the adoption center for you to adopt Webkinz. She seemed all sweet and innocent, but the Webkinz Killer rumors would say otherwise. Sometimes she'd pop out of the red box to kill your Webkinz. Other times, she'd climb through the window and stab the Webkinz. However, Dr. Quack would really be the main suspect behind the Webkinz Killer myth. Dr. Quack, if it wasn't obvious from his appearance and title, was the main medic of the Webkinz world. Webkinz were capable of being sick, and if they were, Dr. Quack's office was the place to take them. Many accounts talked of an Easter egg where if the poster in his office was clicked 37 times, Dr. Quack would pull out a chainsaw and murder your Webkinz. This account was of course followed by the iconic image of Dr. Quack, looking evil, holding a chainsaw with an orange cat facing its inevitable death. The Dr. Quack rumors don't end there, as there would also be accounts of Dr. Quack selling pills for 100 Kinz cash that could kill your Webkinz. I guess fentanyl is canon to Webkinz lore. As to where the myth originated from, nobody really knows, but there are theories that it could have been from angered employees, oppositions from Club Penguin and Neopets, which were other virtual world games, or just a guy who doesn't like Webkinz. What also helped spread this myth were the different videos covering this rumor, which was how I first learned of the myth when I was a lot younger. These videos were always edited into Windows Movie Maker, having screens of text telling the story while also having creepy music and images that came from a website titled creepywebkinz.pixo.com. This website has since been lost to time, but it contains several different graphic edits of Webkinz pets. Pictures like these would scar the minds of many innocent children who just wanted to watch YouTube videos of their favorite game. It was more than just the fact that kids were looking at gore of cute cartoon animals. It was that they were looking at gore of a cute cartoon animal they treated as if it was a real pet. A pet that was given as a gift, cared for, customized, and had milk drank out of and slammed into a wall. A rumor like this spreading instilled the fear that a kid may lose something they cared about. It wouldn't take long for Gans to notice, as they eventually put their own statement out. Concerned about a rumor? Many people have been writing in, asking about a rumor that is going around. The rumor is about something in the Webkinz world hurting Webkinz pets. The most important thing to know is that this rumor is not true at all. Nothing in Webkinz world would ever hurt your Webkinz pet. Everyone at Webkinz World headquarters works really hard to make Webkinz World a safe, happy, and fun place to play. We want you and your Webkinz pets to have a great time playing on the site. Please make sure to tell your friends that their pets are safe and the rumor is not true. Remember that we would never allow anything to hurt your Webkinz pets. This might have seemed like the end of the Webkinz killer rumor until you remember Dr. Quack mysteriously retired on March 3rd, 2015, and decided to run for mayor in 2016. What could he be hiding? Now, Club Penguin is a game that needs no introduction. When it comes to online kids games, it's probably the first thing you think of, and just like the rest of this list, it was no stranger to urban legends of its own. There were ones like Rockhopper's Island, the Rainbow Puffle, and the Ninjas, but really the one we all think of is the tipping of the iceberg. The iceberg was a floating chunk of ice that was northeast of the map. There really wasn't much on the iceberg besides the submarine game, but for many years people have speculated the iceberg could be tipped if enough people danced on the iceberg with the hard hat item, which had a special animation featuring a jackhammer. If the iceberg tipped, you either got a large reward of in-game currency or a ban. The myth itself, or any of Club Penguin's myths, weren't particularly scary, but it was more so the videos about them that freaked me out. From around 2007 and onwards, before the game's end, there would be plenty of fake videos and tutorials showcasing the iceberg being tipped. This, of course, was not true for a while. Old Club Penguin videos were always very unsettling to me when I was younger, and I can't pinpoint it to why. Maybe it was the lack of sound besides the 009 Dreamscape music. Even now, the feeling I get when I look at fake Club Penguin footage is the same feeling I get when looking at things like liminal spaces or analog horror warning screens. That feeling of nostalgia combined with the feeling of uneasiness. It's like I stepped into fragments of a broken timeline. What really scared me when I was a kid was a video titled How to Tip the Iceberg by a user named Chemical Romance 1313. In this video, rather than use the jackhammer to tip the iceberg, the user instead uses an app called Desktop Destroyer, which was an app that turned your mouse cursor into various destructive weapons. There wasn't any audio to the video, and in general I get creeped out by silent things. Combine that with the cartoony violence, you get something that absolutely terrified the living shit out of me as a kid when it really shouldn't have. Club Penguin did take note of the urban legend, hiding Easter eggs like the iceberg being tipped in paintings, and the rumor being mentioned in the Ask Antarctic section of the Club Penguin Times. There was even an achievement that could be earned if 30 penguins danced on the iceberg with hard hats. Eventually, in the game's final days before shutting down, the iceberg could eventually be tipped if 5 players had blue penguins, blue puffles, and danced with the hard hat. Once the iceberg tipped, there would be a large dance floor, a bin of free iceberg tipper hats, and a plaque that said, "Together we can build an island, create a community, and even tip an iceberg. Waddle on." After many years, the iceberg urban legend eventually came to a wholesome conclusion, alongside the game itself. Now, what Battlefield is to Call of Duty is what Animal Jam is to Club Penguin. But for those of you unaware, Animal Jam is an online virtual world where you could play as many different animals. However, the main thing that split Animal Jam from other virtual worlds was the value of certain items and the use of trading. Some people traded knives in CSGO, or hats in Team Fortress 2, but for me, it was fox hats and spiked collars. Animal Jam players would go out of their way to get the rarest items and make their character look as fashionable as possible. The economy of rare items also meant the appearance of scammers, but also myths surrounding hackers. These hackers could simply take away the cosmetics that jammers were so proud of, which added a lot to their notoriety. To anyone who grew up playing Animal Jam, the first name that pops up in their heads is none other than Fman122. This rumor started to pop around 2012 or 2013. Fman122 was rumored to be a hacker that would send mail or jamograms to players and hack their accounts through there. The Animal Jam developers would deny this, talking about how it's impossible to hack through jamograms, though some believed that this was just damage control. Fman122 had a very easy avatar to mimic, as he didn't have any cosmetics on and only relied on the default colors. So it was very easy for people to pose as F-Man, and there would also be videos talking about the return of Fman122. I actually saw one of these lookalikes many years ago. I was in the Crystal Sands part of the map when I suddenly see this wolf who looked just like Fman122. He was completely silent, and the people around him were freaking the fuck out. I was pretty shaken up, as I didn't want to lose my account of rare items. Yet at the same time, I actually wanted this man to be F-Man. It would have been a great story to tell my grandchildren, but of course, this wasn't him. Things such as jamogram glitches, username exploits, and email pranks started to become leads towards F-Man's existence. F-Man would also be rumored to be linked with another infamous Animal Jam hacker named Wretched Jungle, who was supposedly responsible for the hacking of many Animal Jam content creators. Although Wretched Jungle is more so linked to an Animal Jam hacking group called Mighty Squad, F-Man also developed a fanbase of his own, with several different fan art and ships being made of him. He even made it onto someone's Hear Me Out cake. For the most part, I only believed in Fman122 until 2015, which was when I stopped playing the game in general. It just seemed like a myth I grew out of believing. That was until I saw a video by a user named KekAJ titled, "What Really Happened to Fman122 After Animal Jam? The Truth." There's no way to really confirm if anything in the video is true, but if it is, then the Fman122 rabbit hole is a lot deeper than we think, and it genuinely has a sad end to it. Fman122 was ran by an Animal Jam user who also had an account named Abracadabra Alakazam, and they were a competent hacker that would gain access to other people's accounts and transfer their items into theirs. The most common theory as to how he hacked was through password cracking. It was discovered by a close friend of Fman122 that he unfortunately passed away. His legacy lives on in the form of another game called web phishing, where a hacker seems to have taken on the mantle to continue the F-Man havoc. Animal Jam had another urban legend in the form of Lost Jammer. The story went that if you did a specific ritual involving home items, you'd summon the Lost Jammer. Its appearance was one that could definitely scare off some kids. Once summoned, he'd hack into your Animal Jam account. This myth was uploaded all over Animal Jam YouTube, with people staging summonings and claiming to be hacked. But yet again, Lost Jammer was simply a myth. Even as a kid, it was pretty obvious that those videos were fake. I just felt the need to bring it up because it was a really wacky myth, and it's largely forgotten. Animal Jam did acknowledge this myth, and added Lost Jammer in some Halloween promotional material. So hey, I guess he's not really a myth after all. Everyone and their mother plays Roblox, and if they don't, they probably played it at some point. Throughout Roblox's history, there have been plenty of myths regarding hackers that scared users. There's so much you could potentially lose to these hackers, including progress in games, and money spent on Robux. When it comes to Roblox hacker myths, one of the first that comes up is a man named 1x1x1x1. But really, 1x1 was a test account made in 2007 by a Roblox employee named ShaiiValley. ShaiiValley also created some lore for Roblox, which included a statement about 1x1. The first mention of 1x1 was in a Roblox item called the Necrobloxicon. In the description of the item it reads, "And there came into this world a great darkness, a being of pure hatred with the name of 1x1x1x1, or in later ages, simply the adversary. 1x1 is an entity from the 4th dimension who loathes Robloxia for its 3D-ness and has vowed to destroy it. 1x1 was imprisoned by 2x2 at the dawn of time. Yet there are those who seek to free him." From then on, many accounts and videos would pop up regarding 1x1, claiming him to be a hacker. It wouldn't be until a few years later in 2011, where a user known as Mr. Doombringer would post a statement in a forum debunking this whole 1x1 myth. "I posted this link in a thread that subsequently died. I'm posting it here so you can refer back to it later. Keep the link to this forum, distribute it. Tell the people the truth, because the truth is actually quite boring. Let's talk about where the name comes from. Long ago, Telemon posted a number of stories about Roblox's backstory to the news. One of these included mentions of 2x2, the first brick, copied over and over. Every other brick were its descendants. Then in a footnote, he mentions the evil 1x1x1x1. So that's where the name comes from. Blame John. Let's talk about why people say he's a hacker. A guy whose name is long forgotten found an exploit, not cheat engine, to insert control scripts into online places. He sent me a message telling me he had something to demonstrate. I joined him in Crossroads, and it started rating heads saying things along the lines of he's coming back, and 1x1 is coming for you, and the likes. People in the server freaked out. I found it hilarious. He gave me instructions on how it works, and I reported it to the devs. End of story. Other people, like Dignity, would find other ways to insert scripts, and people would assume that they have something to do with the hacker group 1x1x1. Truth is, it was one guy playing off a Roblox lore thing. Get over it, it's that boring. That didn't stop Roblox users from believing the myth, as videos regarding 1x1 still appeared afterwards. But those are definitely imposters. Roblox has also turned the 1x1 myth into a mascot of sorts, changing his appearance to be more evil looking while also using him in merchandise and events. 1x1 was someone I'd always hear about from one of my friends who was super into Roblox. I started playing Roblox a little bit after 1x1's existence was debunked, so I don't really have any personal attachment to this myth, but these next two, I definitely have stories to tell about them. Back in the old days of Roblox, people could choose to play as a guest rather than make an account. These guests couldn't customize their avatars and also weren't able to speak, and their names were randomly generated, appearing as guest and then a randomly generated number starting from 0 to 9,999. With the introduction of guests, also came with it Guest 666. There were other guest creepypastas like Guest 0, but Guest 666 is really the one that frightened people. Stories of Guest 666 go as far back as 2008, which is the year where guests were introduced. Many of the accounts that witnessed Guest 666 would detail that he would speak unlike the other guests, and also had access to exploits that could ruin the game. In 2017, a Roblox YouTuber named Oblivious HD would make a series of videos revolving around Guest 666, popularizing the myth while also giving Guest 666 the rendition of having a dark appearance and red eyes. Anyone could encounter a guest named Guest 666, and I say that because I encountered a guest named Guest 666 in a family role-playing game. Why I was playing that? Don't ask. But of course, this myth was fake. One thing, Guest 666 is a pretty corny name for an urban legend like this. And like I said before, anyone could have the name. Another thing was that guests got discontinued in 2017, which pretty much killed off this myth and any guest-related myths. Now the last myth I'll talk about is the one that terrified me the most out of all of these myths. John Doe and Jane Doe were official Roblox test accounts created by the Roblox CEOs David Baszucki and Eric Cassell. Their account join dates are listed as February 27, 2006, but the real date they were created is June 25, 2005. That made them the second and third accounts to ever join Roblox. John Doe is usually referred to an anonymous male, while Jane Doe is referred to an anonymous female. For the longest time, the last time either of these accounts were online was in 2006, yet the accounts were somehow able to possess user badges and accept friend requests much later. Because of the mysterious aura these accounts had, they were the subject of speculation and rumors. It was in 2017 where multiple Roblox YouTubers would make videos on the two, spreading the rumor that they were going to hack Roblox on March 18, 2017. I was born after Y2K, and I was too young to process 2012, so this was my doomsday event. It's like that anime trope where a villain is finally going to wake up from its slumber to cause havoc. I was anticipating the day the hacking event would happen, and on the actual date of the rumor, I decided not to play the game at all. I didn't want to lose my account that I'd spent hours playing Assassin in, plus I spent a pretty penny on buying Robux. Some YouTubers decided to take the risk and play Roblox on March 18th, and well...
And everyone thinks that Roblox today is going to have something weird happen to it. It's not. It's all rumor.
I feel like everybody should be going nuts right now. Everybody should be running around knocking shit over, like...
There were also plenty of Roblox games taking advantage of the situation, having John Doe in the thumbnail and title in order to gain more visits. Suffice to say, these rumors were indeed fake. Roblox would come out 3 days later with an article to squash any of the rumors and also explain more of the backstory behind the two accounts. For all intents and purposes, both accounts are owned and maintained by Roblox. They cannot be used in any way to access or ban other players' accounts, and they're positively harmless. We promise they're friendly. You may even see John or Jane Doe popping into a game sometime to say hello and wish everyone well, clarifying John Doe, Jane Doe's friends, followers, and badges. A few years ago, we observed that some players could add John Doe and Jane Doe to their friends and followers lists on Roblox, or reward these test accounts with badges. We have since disabled this ability. In the following weeks, we will be clearing out both accounts from any friends or badges that were added involuntarily, and John Doe and Jane Doe will also be outfitted with a new set of Roblox branded clothes. We're dedicated to building a fun, safe environment where kids of all ages can power their imagination on Roblox. We hope that this blog post helps put an end to the misconceptions about John Doe and Jane Doe, and that it alleviates any concerns or worries. Consider this myth busted. All of these rumors are way too comical to be real, but when I was a lot younger, these myths induced a kind of trauma in me, and I can assume many of you guys feel the same way. Despite all that, it's just fun to look back at these myths and laugh at all the things that used to scare us. There are probably more and more myths that plague these games and many other games as well. Some of you guys might be thinking of a certain white-eyed figure. I mainly stuck to a theme of online virtual worlds, and all of these myths were ones I had personal experience with. But hey, if you want me to cover even more myths, comment down below. Also, check out my friends JJ and Help Gauge. They were pretty much the first friends I made on YouTube, and all three of us make similar content. Take care of yourselves, and as usual, please have yourselves a damn good one. This video is sponsored by Raycon. It's Raycon's anniversary, and these essential open earbuds are not only stealing the spotlight, they're 30% off. They're sleek, smart, and way cooler than your average earbuds. In all honesty, these have been my go-to for my daily grind. Whether I'm working, commuting, or just winding down, they fit right in and make everything a little more fun. Raycon's essential open earbuds keep your ears open while still delivering crystal clear sound. They sit just outside your ear canal, so you can stay tuned in no matter how much is going on around you. They're super light and comfortable, thanks to their open ear design, so no matter what, they always stay put. The earbuds themselves have 8 hours of battery life, while the case itself has 36 hours. Here's the kicker: Raycon delivers the same premium audio quality as the big brands, but at half the price. Add in over 3 million happy customers and a 30-day happiness guarantee, there's zero reason to overpay. Raycon is what I've been using, and you absolutely should get a pair. All you have to do is click on the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/mcvopen to get 30% off the essential open earbuds. Thanks again to Raycon for sponsoring today's video. It's still really crazy how big part 1 became. I was kind of scared to upload it because either I didn't think people would find it interesting, or people wouldn't care because videos on these myths already exist. Also, the Smash Bros video was right before this one, and that one also blew up like crazy. But here we are now, with that video getting over 1 million views, and it being considered a favorite among my creator friends. It was quite the personal video to me. I didn't really have too many ideas when it came to a sequel, but then you guys in the comment section brought up some other myths in online kids games, which leads us to part 2. I should mention, part 2 was originally called Hackers That Ruined Online Kids Games. Then I changed the title just for more clicks. So half of these are real hackers, but the other half remain to be urban legends. Alright, let's continue. Roblox, Club Penguin, and Animal Jam. All games we played as kids to customize our avatars, interact with our friends, and just escape from the outside world. But it can take one person to ruin that experience. A hacker. A hacker can take away your cosmetics, your year's worth of progress, your innocence, and maybe even your personal data. These hackers spread fear and havoc throughout the games they played. They may be gone now, but their notoriety still glistens in the minds of many Zoomers. Last time I talked about figures who haunted online kids games, but for the most part, they were mainly urban legends. So how about I talk about the figures that were threats to these digital societies. Through Animal Jam, we already covered Fman122, Retro Jungle, and Lost Jammer, but there's also a myth surrounding a user named Null. But really, that user just has a name that creeped users out, and as a result, creepypastas were made. Not much to say there. I honestly didn't even know about that one until I was learning about the other myths. However, there was one particular hacker I was pretty well aware of during my days of playing Animal Jam, and that was the myth of LOL King Century 1. Initially looking at him, you see a seal avatar, but he doesn't have a preset name that most users have. In fact, it's completely blank. But when you switch to his tiger avatar, you come across this. Yeah, a racial slur and profanity. This phenomenon was spread throughout blog posts and YouTube videos. Of course, through mass reporting, Animal Jam caught wind of the user and banned him.
Hello, Snowy Claw. Thank you for contacting Animal Jam Support Headquarters. We're sorry to hear you have come across this person's account and saw those offensive words, but do not worry. We want to let you know we are aware of this issue and apologize for any inconvenience this may cause you. Our team is currently working hard to and resolve this issue to remove any offensive language from the game. We thank you for bringing this to our attention. Remember to have fun, be safe, and play wild. Animal Jam HQ.
Though to this day, nobody knows who they were, how they changed their name, and what their motives were. I think the main question to ask is why. Like, this is either a grown man who just wants to mess with kids, or a kid who just learned what cursing is. I can imagine that kids who saw this hacker had some really awkward dinner conversations. I was actually around for the reign of Lol King Century 1, and when I saw that username, I was pretty shocked. However, I just had no one to talk about it with. So when it comes to Club Penguin, the hacking situation is a lot more comedic. In terms of a notorious figure, the closest I can find was an article about a user named Sanity1, whose real name is Jake Rolfs. This article uses a lot of terminology, like legend says, and according to what they say, so it's very likely a lot of the information in this article isn't true. The article also refers to Sanity1 as the most feared hacker in Club Penguin. He had other accounts such as Sanity14, Sanity15, Sanity16, Jake, and SANITY. It was revealed by a hacker that the password for the last account mentioned is poop123, though we do know some information about Sanity1 through his blog, Cheap Penguin, which ran from September 2006 to April 2008. Sanity1 does have an official YouTube channel, and there have been sightings of him. Based on said article, Sanity1 invented a program called Club Penguin Trainer, which can change a penguin's name, color, and size, while also providing cosmetics and the ability to appear as an NPC, though these were only on the player's screen. Although he did supposedly hack many users, including Club Penguin moderators. His story ended in multiple ways, including his account being suspended, and that he could have either faced 1 year of jail time or a fine of $500K. The last anyone saw of him was in 2013 at the Iceberg, but of course, a lot of what I talked about may or may not be true. Sanity1 wasn't the only hacker, as there were accounts with suspicious details, such as having access to certain items they shouldn't have, though none of these really posed as a threat to other users. However, there was the use of bots and cloning. These bots would spam messages and throw snowballs, but it got really bad whenever they'd put out offensive symbols and profanity. I never knew anything about Sanity1 before writing the script. However, I was very much aware of the item exploits in the clones, especially the clones. I always thought it was the funniest shit ever if it wasn't anything offensive. Club Penguin never really had a lot of options when it came to trolling. If I wasn't a stupid kid and I knew how to use these cloning programs, I would have gone mad with power.
14 years after its release, the fantasy MMO Wizard 101 would be faced with several random announcements that caught many players by surprise.
The next world is my boss. King's Isle is the worst company I have ever worked for. The wizard police are after me. Join Builders Club, it's free! This game is shit. F***ing balls. My name is Walter Hartwell White. I live at 308 Negra Arroyo Lane of Albuquerque, New Mexico. 87104. This is my confession. The person with Rouge access has been dealt with and will be taken care of. F*** you, I still have it. We apologize for the ongoing issues. All impacted players will receive compensation in the form of 60,000 crowns.
As you can see, many inappropriate announcements on the game were made by a man who had been dubbed Serverman, and although the developers were quick to get rid of the announcements, the damage had already been done. The game's servers were temporarily shut down and then later put back up with a temporary fix, and an investigation went underway. Based on the announcements, it would seem that the Serverman was someone who worked for King's Isle, the company behind Wizard 101. This would later be debunked in a statement.
A message from King's Isle, Wizard 101 broadcast system breach. Community. This past Friday, the broadcast system of Wizard 101 was illegally accessed to post inappropriate messages in-game as if they were written by a King's Isle employee. We sincerely apologize for the unacceptable statements making their way into the game and causing disruption of your gameplay. We take great care in ensuring Wizard 101 is a family-friendly game and feel disheartened when someone finds a way to disrupt that experience. The incident was quickly identified and steps were immediately taken to halt the behavior. We turned off the broadcast system and have added additional security measures to ensure this won't happen again. At this time, we believe that an external party initiated the messages through a non-traditional method of accessing the broadcast system. No other systems were accessed. Considering the incident has soured your celebrations of the birthday month, we want to close out September with a bang. From now until the end of the month, we are enabling all member benefits and granting membership to all players. Both will be enabled for EU players as well. Thanks to everyone for your patience and support as we resolved this unfortunate incident. If the mind is like a candle, the heart is like the sun. Professor Falmia, aka Leah Rubin, your fearless game director.
Still, to this day, nobody knows who the server man is or his motivations. The general consensus is that the server man is just a random hacker. There's even a theory that this was just a giant promotional stunt to get new players to join the game.
I've only played Wizard 101 once, and that was in 2015 for only 30 minutes. I was just so confused on what to do. However, if I was playing Wizard 101 on the day of the hacking, I would have just laughed my ass off and shared screenshots with everyone I knew. The Breaking Bad quote in particular caught me off guard. Of course, kids played Wizard 101, and I don't think a kid would be very fond of seeing dick and balls on their screen. Though they got free memberships and in-game currency, so not much to really fuss about. So I never grew up with Toontown, but a comment on the Urban Legends video spoke of a man named Freckleslam, later renamed to Freckles. Information on him is very vague and hard to find. Yet despite all that, he was notorious enough to scare many Toontown players and have multiple videos and creepypastas made of him. Using multiple different sources including YouTube videos, Reddit threads, and wiki pages, here's what I could gather. Freckleslam always roamed in popular servers. He would hack into people's accounts and steal your tunes, replacing them with his avatar. He was also able to bypass chat filters. His iconic catchphrase was "See you Saturday." There was a rumor that his dad worked at Disney and learned how to hack, though it was more likely just someone with a script executor, as Toontown had very weak security. There were plenty of Freckleslam clones, who also used script executors, and then there was the rumor he got arrested. Finally, he's on the team for Toontown Rewritten. Like I said earlier, my Toontown knowledge is very lacking, but it's funny to see a character who was once feared be one of the game's biggest heroes. Movie Star Planet was a virtual world that centered around becoming, well, a movie star. This can be done by customizing a character to be as fashionable as possible, creating movies that can be shared among friends. Despite the fact that it was targeted towards girls, I actually enjoyed this game quite a bit. Now that I think about it, the character customization is probably what got me into fashion, and the movie maker feature is probably what got me into making videos. Of course, we aren't here for my retrospective, we're here to talk about hackers, and to anyone who's played Movie Star Planet, you know exactly who I'm about to talk about. Miss Philly was a hacker in Movie Star Planet who would go into people's systems and play the song Twisted Nerve, a song from the movie Kill Bill. You've also heard the song sampled in the song Chill Bill by Rob Stone, which is prevalent in internet culture in the 2010s. While some thought about the movie and the vines, Movie Star Planet users would be struck with PTSD whenever they heard the song. Miss Philly's appearance goes back as 2013, where she hacked a user named IzzyWizzy02 and posted in a forum. Throughout the 2010s, Miss Philly was very much a feared figure, as videos began spreading about her only until she was hacked in 2016 by another famous hacker named The Cult. For the most part, that's all I could really find about Miss Philly, but she is very much linked to two other hackers who are also quite notorious in Movie Star Planet. Miss Philly's character appearance was very similar to that of the hacker Anonymous, who had no connection to the actual hacker group of the same name. It was theorized that these two may be the exact same person, though nothing to confirm that. On June 28, 2012, a forum on the United Kingdom server for Movie Star Planet would be made by a deleted user. On this forum, the deleted user would scare many users by stating that they were a level 1 non-VIP, which was the paid membership. This scared many users because this was completely impossible. There are a ton of different users who are allegedly hacked by Anonymous, though none of these are confirmed. Anonymous would also hack people's accounts and put their names into leaderboards, making them a Robin Hood of sorts. Just like with Miss Philly, stories of Anonymous spread all over through YouTube videos. Anonymous didn't work alone, as they worked with the previously mentioned The Cult, and I think that's where I'll stop talking about Movie Star Planet hackers. There were more of them, such as the Dolly, Grim Reaper, and Blab Fight, but the story is pretty much the same for all of them. One day they just appeared and started hacking into people's accounts. Honestly, I thought this part would be a lot more interesting. I just remember going on social media and seeing people talk about how afraid they were of Miss Philly, but looking into it, it's just so lackluster. No rabbit hole, and no big movie star planet incident. Well, there is one, but it's not hacker related, though I guess it makes sense. Your account where you make your character look as fashionable as possible is about to get taken away. And like I said, many of these avatars were scary looking, and this was around peak creepypasta era, so of course many kids were going to be traumatized. In the last video, I talked about Guest 666, Jane and John Doe, and 1x1x1x1, which you guys gave me a lot of shit for mispronouncing. However, many of you guys have been requesting I talk about the hacker Jenna, otherwise known as a girl Jenna. Our story begins in July 8, 2021, though the A Girl Jenna account was really made in 2018. A YouTuber, going by ZeroFix, make a video titled The Oh Dare Full Movie 4K, a horror Roblox story, where Jenna plays a villain role. If you don't know what an Oh Dare is, it basically means online dater. This movie would then be fully fleshed out into a series, with a music video and also a remake of the first movie. It would be in 2022 where TikToks would emerge that Jenna was going to hack every girl on Roblox on February 7th and 8th, take all the boys for herself. This is what I had so many comments for. With how big the rumor spread, ZeroFix, the creator of the movies, would take a note of the situation, creating some cryptic messaging in the bio of the Jenna Roblox account, showing a 7 and an 8. Many YouTubers such as Flamingo and Creekcraft took advantage of the rumor, making their own videos on the hacker. There would be many games on Jenna, including an actual game on the account, which would then be infiltrated by the hacker Tubers93, a name that's going to be very important later on. Of course, the 7th and the 8th passed, but nothing happened, though the Jenna Roblox account did eventually get hacked, as ZeroFix pressed a link, which stole the Jenna password. This was just a poor man's John Doe. I'm guessing a lot of the people who wanted me to talk about this in the comments are extremely young, because I don't see how anyone could have fallen for this. I think the bigger concern should be the online dating culture in a kid's game. Like, how is your first love a Lego minifig? There is a similar case with a hacker known as Nightcrawler, who would come out at 7 PM every Sunday, and if you stared at him, you'd just get kidnapped. Yeah, that's it, and the only proof of it is through a TikTok. Yeah, that one was just really unoriginal, and it's the same thing with the movie star planet hackers. I think people were just scared of how the avatar looked, rather than the actual hacker myth.
I think it's time to talk about an actual Roblox hacker, and who better to start off with than CoolKid. The CoolKid account was made all the way back in June 15th, 2019 as an alt to the user 007N7. But our story really begins in 2014 with the introduction of the CoolGUI Roblox exploits in the Roblox group Team CoolKid. In order to activate the CoolGUI, you had to use a script executor like Synapse. CoolGUI had many different abilities such as flooding or lagging the game, or just straight up killing players. All of that of course disrupted the experience for many kids just trying to play some Roblox. CoolKid would hack games such as Work at a Pizza Place and Natural Disaster Survival, replacing all of the textures with the CoolKid's avatar, playing loud music, and constantly saying, "Team CoolKid, join today." It would be thanks to YouTube videos of these hacking incidents that CoolKid would gain notoriety. Eventually in 2016, the CoolKid account would be terminated and his group would end up continuing in the form of multiple different groups with different owners. As Roblox's security would get better, the CoolGUI would also be patched, ending the CoolKid story here.
This man's a marketing genius. He hacked popular games at the time to promote his online group. This is like how companies use drones to promote their products, except a lot more ethical.
Roblox's most infamous hacker was a man named Tubers93, and let's just say that his methods were a bit insensitive to say the least. On September 22nd, 2018, the Tubers93 account would be made, which was ran by multiple users. 2 months later, Tubers03 would have a game called Little Angels Daycare, renaming the game to Little Devil's Daycare. The game would have a demonic theme and a Jeff the Killer image with a screamer sound effect. Of course, this was later changed. On September 28, 2019, a random game pass for the game Arsenal called Admin would appear for 80 Robux. But the admin powers were for a completely different game. The game pass would eventually be removed and the Arsenal developer would give those who bought the pass exclusive cosmetics. On October 2nd, 2019, Tubers93 would compromise Meep City. If players joined the game, they would instead be teleported to a game called Meep City 2. Spawning into the game was in really bad taste, as players would begin the game on top of the name of God in Arabic. The anti-Islamic imagery didn't end there, as there were mosques, a chant being played in the background, and a tool called Warship that would explode the player. This led Alex Neutron to close down the game and fix up Meep City. Everything I just described is pretty gross, but the hackers' antics unfortunately progressed. Meep City would be compromised once again on February 29, 2020. Players who joined the game would be met with their avatars being changed to the Austrian painter, if you know who I'm talking about. A backdoor virus was also in the game, which took you to a completely different version of the Meep City playground. There would be a pinata of the developer, Alex Neutron, and hitting Alex would result in two sound effects, a metal bat and a female moan, which was then changed to the N-word. So basically, you could hit the developer of Meep City, and you could either get a girl moaning or the N-word, like I said. That's pretty crazy stuff. Various racist music and edgy sound effects would also be heard in the background. Worst of all, you just couldn't leave the game no matter which method you tried. You'd just be teleported back, unless you used Task Manager or Alt F4. On April 8, 2020, Tubers93 would make an obby game, which when completed would let you spin a wheel and receive Robux which were given by the group, the Goofy Goobers. Soon after, the group would be locked at its peak of 66,000 members. 3 days later, Tubers93 would also release a game that involved voice chat, but this was prior to the release of Roblox's official voice chat feature. The voice chat in this game would use an external website to record audio and upload it into the game. Eventually, it would get deleted. On April 20th, 2020, there would be another Roblox obby. The YouTuber Flamingo, or Albert, would make a video on the game as well, and as a result, the popularity of the Roblox games would explode as well as the Roblox groups and Discord servers. October 2020 would see the release of a fourth Roblox game, though for this one, nobody was supposed to press a button for 5 minutes. Once again, Albert would make a video on the game, yet the game had run dry of Robux. April 30th, 2021 would see a major hacking incident by Tubers93. The main Roblox account would be hacked and post many different shirts that contained images of popular Roblox YouTubers, the Among Us Nike meme, and text in the old Roblox logo saying, "Fuck you Roblox." On May 15th, 2021, the final Robux game would be released and would just purely ask the player for a Game Pass ID. Roblox added countermeasures to group payouts to ensure nothing like these Game Passes would ever release, and it would work. After Meep City's parties were removed, Creekcraft would play the game on February 16th, 2022. Sometime in the stream, he received over 939,000 coins by Tubers93. At the same time, games Find the Markers and Name the Logo would receive multiple messages from Tubers93 containing the word hello. The original Meep City 2 map was brought back, with a Roblox avatar that could be hit with a pinata for Robux, and a mosque that would have prayers to Tubers93 for some reason. On September 21st, 2023, the Tubers93 group would announce that they were retiring. Throughout Tubers93's reign, there were many YouTube videos and interviews with the famous hacker. The last we'd ever see of them would be on February 5th, 2024, where a user known as Lucas took the username before it reset. To end off, we'll briefly go over some other notable Roblox hacking incidents. There was the 2012 incident where a user gained admin controls. They would hack into users' accounts and make them say inappropriate things on the forums, and also alter the Roblox economy by changing the price of different items and uploading new ones like the iconic smiley face, which would lead to the hackers being banned. There was also the hacking incident in 2020, where multiple users would be hacked to include pro-Trump imagery and have kids' parents vote for Trump.
Based on everything we just read, it seems like Roblox just has a lot of oppositions. Like they're really trying to sabotage the game and ruin the experience for many children. As for the offensive stuff, whether or not you think it's funny, you gotta admit, it's in poor taste. Before this video, I wasn't really aware of these hacking incidents, but I can imagine from the outside perspective of a kid playing the game, this must have been really crazy. Based on what we've seen, hackers have one of two motivations: to get to the top without any of the hard work, or to just mess with kids who just want to have fun. Once you learn how to hack, all the players in the game are pretty much just ants. It doesn't require a genius to tell you that hacking is illegal, but really just let these kids enjoy the game. Don't ruin their childhoods for them. There's a time and a place for everything, and an MMO just doesn't have either. I'm really glad the Urban Legends video did well. I mean, even though the topics have been talked about in other videos, I still gave my own personal thoughts and experiences, while also having it in my own editing style. If you enjoyed today's video, feel free to like, comment down any thoughts or topics I should cover, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like it. Take care of yourselves, and as usual, please have yourselves a damn good one. Big thanks to all three GJ, Chupo, and JadenSalads for appearing in this video. I'm good friends with all three now, but back then, my relationship with them was still pretty fresh. Part 2 is obviously a lot less spooky in tone when compared to Part 1, considering these are really wacky, and I didn't want to force the horror factor into this video. The writing side of this video is also kind of difficult because the information on these entries was pretty vague, and I didn't experience them firsthand. I think you could see that my editing style really changed from Part 1 to Part 2. I started to be more stylistic. To me, having an identity is very important when it comes to YouTube, but I also see having an aesthetic as a bit of a fun challenge. Of course, if you've seen my newer videos, my editing style has evolved since. I'm now inspired by things like Haunted Mound music videos and schizophrenic Instagram posts. Let's move on to Part 3, which not only brings back the spooky tone, but it also steps away from kids' virtual worlds to more mature games that you probably played in your childhood. I talked about games like COD Zombies, Garry's Mod, Halo, and of course, Minecraft, because you know, I had to talk about Herobrine. If you know, you know. I think that most of us who grew up playing video games believed in urban legend of some sort. It could have been a video edited in Windows Movie Maker of a guy discovering some secret area, or a kid at recess told you about a glitch he found that made the game easier. As impressionable young kids, we were quick to believe these things. What I want to focus on are the darker myths and unnerving encounters that quickly spread among gamers, ones that either kept us up at night or fueled our morbid curiosities. I'm talking about the urban legends that haunted online games. The Halo series is known for its action and immense world building. Oddly enough, it has some enigmatic mysteries in both its story and its multiplayer. On July 28, 2006, a user named AfroSauce would upload a video about a ghost encounter in the Halo 2 map, Lockout. This coined the term Ghost of Lockout, although the player in the video isn't AfroSauce. It's instead a player named Antinoob, who is playing with their friend Underdog. In actuality, the video is just a re-upload, since the original was taken down due to YouTube's copyright laws. I mean, it's the 2000s. Copyrighted rock music and gameplay were cough syrup and Sprite back then. The thing about this video is that Underdog left to go eat, yet a white Spartan moving around with no walking animation can be seen. This Spartan was not Underdog. In fact, its name doesn't even appear on the scoreboard. The rest of this video showcases the ghost sticking Antinoob with grenades. He throws these grenades in almost any direction without turning. Every kill the ghost had would be credited to the Guardians. The last few seconds of the video are a big cat and mouse game between the ghost and Antinoob, with it ending with the ghost finding Antinoob's hiding spot and sticking him with a grenade before the credits roll. This became the talk of the town, although many were quick to dismiss the ghosts as just a mod. AfroSauce would deny these allegations, responding with the fact that this video was made at a time when old maps were impossible to mod and that there are ping bars whenever Antinoob dies. He instead insists that the ghost was a result of a network issue. I should bring up the theory that this ghost could also be a bot, and I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who theorized that this ghost was an actual ghost. Since this video's appearance, more would spawn. These videos depicted the same things, Spartan ghosts behaving erratically on the map Lockout. The Halo wiki does include other encounters on other Halo maps, but ghosts on there are merely accounts. There is the Ghost of Turf, recorded by Hollywood Halo, but that one is simply a machinima parody of the myth. Nonetheless, that didn't stop people from believing it was real. These ghosts weren't exclusive to Halo 2, as they managed to make their way onto Halo 3. A video was uploaded on April 25th, 2008, showing off a ghost on the multiplayer map, Blackout. If it wasn't clear from the name, Blackout serves as a remake of the Lockout map. The ghost in this video behaved just like the ghost in the original, with it lacking a scoreboard entry and walking animations. It would slide around the map and take the lives of players, both flawlessly and mercilessly. We were finally seeing a ghost encounter in higher resolution. Ghosts have also been known to appear on the map Sandtrap, just as weird glitches revolving around floating objects and teleporting players. The ghosts have even made an appearance in Halo Reach, as seen in this video of a helicopter being driven by an invisible player on the map Forge World. The description for this video talks about how the ghosts were caused by overloading the map. Almost all of these ghosts were normal players experiencing network issues. Combined with the fact that the game was being overloaded, these players were highly skilled at taking down their foes, giving them an almost supernatural appearance, and they were unaware that their opponents saw them as apparitions. On the other hand, there were the mods and machinimas. I find it so fascinating how after one video, more started to appear. Sure, some were fake, but many people were sharing similar experiences. My only experience with Halo was with the split screen campaign at friends' houses, so I don't really have much of an attachment to Halo's multiplayer. That gets to another thing I grew up with. Watching videos of video game glitches and mod showcases were such a big part of my childhood. I remember being so creeped out at Pikachu being modded over Captain Falcon, while also thinking about how cool of a Pokemon Missing No is. I just wonder which of these reactions would I get if I saw this iconic video. In February of 2025, YouTube user General Kid found a model of Master Chief just hidden within the Lockout map. So perhaps the ghosts of Lockout were real after all. When it comes to Source games, a common term people use to describe them is eerie. For something like Half-Life or Portal, the setting takes place in areas where people have long since passed. The models and textures are an uncanny and gloomy recreation of the real world. You hear nothing but ambience and unnatural sounds. As for Gary's mod, playing the game in an empty map is considerably unsettling. A game meant to be played with friends is now just so desolate and lifeless. What adds to this fact is that it sometimes feels like you're being watched. Many have reported seeing black figures in their games, alongside hearing voices. Most encounters with dark shadowy figures are more so just hysteria, hoaxes, or a specific add-on I'll get into later. However, one notable shadow figure myth is Semper, a being that's pretty much just a retextured Half-Life 1 Gordon Freeman, and it possessed the ability to join single-player servers. Although, Semper is most likely just a script error and a corruption of the player model. A Gmod discussion post also gave details about encountering the burnt ragdoll, Sharple.
Disturbing sightings found on me and my friend's Gmod maps. Hi, I'm looking for some help with very disturbing sightings I've seen in the game. I'm 13, play Gmod a ton with my friends, and recently, I was playing on Cinema Theatron for the first time with Black Vortex Boy, when the Charpal ragdoll began appearing in random areas. I know this probably sounds like BS, and it's probably even worse that I'm mentioning this a day before April Fools, but please, we need help. Recently, we found it in GM Big City, sitting down with the sentence, "God is dead," written with blood decals on the walls and floor around it, which we both found extremely disturbing. Once again, I know this sounds like some stupid kid making a stupid prank, but please, if anyone can, help. Next time it appears, I will share some images. Also, has anyone else had any issues similar to this?
I haven't found anything else related to a Sharple encounter besides this post. For all we know, this user could be lying or simply dealing with an add-on. Regarding the more recent shadowy figure encounters, a lot of them are actually due to the add-on GM Construct 13 Beta. This add-on was released on July 21st of 2021 by a user named Zalalau. It takes the iconic default map of GM Construct and adds more of a horror feel to it. It does this by making use of entities akin to the apparitions people have claimed to have seen. These entities could even manage to appear on other installed maps as long as the add-on is enabled. This of course caught unsuspecting players off guard. Another popular Gmod myth would be the one of Meaty. This one isn't too well known as it was mainly spread through word of mouth within the Russian Gmod community. Legend says that in the dark room of GM Construct, there lies a strange entity. Well actually, before that, you'll have to do a ritual. It involves spawning and taking the lives of multiple NPCs. After that, you'll need to check the pond, where you should see some shadowy figures in the water. Once that's done, you can check the dark room and you'll be face to face with Meaty, who'll probably end up taking your life. What Meaty looks like varies from depiction to depiction, but it almost always is a reskinned model with no skin. Despite being a creepypasta, Meaty is quite the inside joke among the Russian Gmod community.
There's not a lot of information regarding these myths, and their wikis are very vague. Hell, I can't even find the origin of the ones I mentioned so far. I can't think of Gmod as a game with urban legends. I never really thought much of the game's unnerving nature until some videos brought it up.
Before I end the Gmod section, there's one last urban legend I want to talk about, and it's regarding the map RP Downtown V2. This map was made in 2009 by a user named The Pro for the Dark RP game mode. It was one of the most popular maps for this game mode. In 2012, a forum post claiming to be one of the Pro's friends said that the Pro had unfortunately took their own life. Immediately, many took this post as fact. Following this, people began to speculate that the map may be haunted by the ghost of the Pro. Users exploring the map were hearing sounds, seeing figures, and there would be footage of said ghost encounters that, wouldn't you know, were faked. Now, is this map actually haunted? Well, no, but exploring a place made by someone who passed away can for sure be a haunting experience. It also goes back to that whole idea of exploring a place that used to be so full of life, now be completely empty. A word for this feeling is canopsia. Time has passed and turned this map into a relic of its time. Going back to the Pro, it's entirely possible his soul didn't even depart in the first place. He could have just grown out of Gary's mod.
I had witnessed this event myself. Apparently, these two players were deleted from the Roblox database by these eyes. I think Origin of Eyes are located in Roblox High School. I tried to look for them, but they were nowhere to be found. I wish I had took a picture of that event. I all wrote it down, information. Every day, there are white eyes appearing in Roblox games, although they're mostly seen in popular games. I've seen one at work at a pizza place. I've also seen people comment about these eyes dating back as far as 2006, although they've decreased in number by 2009. There are pictures of these eyes below. Sometimes if you see these eyes, the clock on your computer can change to January 30th, 2004, 7:43 AM. The date the Roblox domain was purchased as said by witnesses. One more thing, if you see red eyes, do not go near it. These red eyes can delete your account from Roblox when the account is nowhere to be found and all things related to this user gets deleted. IPs, user IDs, name gets hashtagged, and the list goes on. I had personally named it the King of the Watch. Finding the Blocks Watch is a more common occurrence than finding the King of the Watch, which is a rare occurrence. The Blocks Watch usually appears in smaller games, but rarely appears in some big games like Murder Mystery 2, Natural Disaster Survival, Meep City, Robloxian High School, Roblox High School, Jailbreak, and many more.
What you just read was a Roblox creepypasta talking about an entity called Bloxwatch. The story goes as far back as 2017 and was a pretty heavy myth around the Roblox community. Like what was mentioned, Bloxwatch were a pair of eyes that would watch you in Roblox, and if you got too close, they'd ban your account. They were apparently run by a group of hackers who targeted famous Roblox YouTubers, and to add to this myth, they had their own Roblox place they labeled as their headquarters. I already talked about other Roblox myths like John Doe, 1x1, and Jenna, as well as a few legitimate hackers like Cool Kid and Tubers93. I'm mentioning these Roblox hackers and urban legends because they had young Robloxians such as myself in a chokehold. Once a comment brought up Bloxwatch, a surge of memories flooded in. I remember how big this myth was. I first learned about it through Flamingo. The idea of seeing a pair of eyes while you play your favorite Roblox games, or even in real life, isn't too out of the ordinary. I remember seeing white eyes from a distance when playing work at a pizza place. Now those eyes could have been anything, a reflection, dust, or another player, but whatever it was, it led me to believe this myth. Not to mention the many Roblox games that incorporated Bloxwatch and the footage that depicted these encounters. More than ever did I become more aware of my surroundings. Of course, like Roblox's other urban legends, it was fake. Actually, the creepypasta at the beginning was from a YouTube screenshot, and it's possible that's not even the original origin of the myth. I did find a Reddit post of a guy claiming he made the myth, but I took it with a grain of salt. There wasn't anything to confirm or deny that he was telling the truth.
Time for them.
On February 25th of 2010, a user named Yale University made a forum post talking about a weird anomaly he encountered on the site. Typing in Noli in the search bar would result in an account that just shows up as a question mark. Just that. Literally no user data. After this particular forum post, more started to discuss Noli's identity. Perhaps it was a glitch, a former Roblox employee, maybe he was a hacker. Multiple forum moderators would speak up, explaining that Noli is a glitch and nothing more, with one stating that there is no prophecy, but there is also no Noli. A forum moderator going by SaveSeal13 explained that Noli was a banned account, but it didn't have their user data deleted, leading to the weird state we see the account in. Despite that didn't stop Roblox users from creating their own mythologies. User Chowda000 would create a link between Noli and Roblox's other myths, like the hacker myth, 1x1. Chowda would claim that Noli was going to destroy Roblox. He would make the group Lost Void in reference to the Void Star item he wore. At the same time of the forum post, an account called Sway Judy Noli would be made and create a Roblox place. The account was an alt for Noli, while the Roblox place could be explored to learn the created lore and feelings of Noli. User Kazdam would also take this concept and create more lore for Noli. The additional mythology goes that after the end of the Mystery Object event on September 5th, 2007, the Void Star would be released to the public. Noli got his hands on such an item and displayed weird behavior. He started to corrupt everything around him, taking over the site, shutting down games, and hacking into accounts. This led to Roblox banning his account, only for him to reappear and hack Roblox accounts with Void Stars to steal them. He continued his mayhem just for Roblox to ban him again. After a year, he returned, but this time, he influenced hundreds of players to be a part of his cult, the Void Cult. Shortly after, he vanished again. He returns 2 years later, but his account appears as it was in the original forum post. A Roblox hunter was able to get in contact with the moderator to fully finally remove Noli once and for all. Yet, that didn't stop cult groups from re-emerging, creating summonings on the 16th of every month, waiting for the day that Noli returned. Of course, the Noli myth started to die down up until 2024, when a Crossroads Hangout game picked up the Noli story where it left off. This wasn't the only game to include Noli, as he would also be a part of Midnight Horrors and soon to be included in the infamous game Forsaken. Can we just talk about his design? Straight up aura farming. Roblox is a very massive myth community. While the Roblox urban legends that I talked about were boogeyman-esque figures that caused mass hysteria, there are myths that are more so just fun stories to tell your friends. I feel like a lot of you guys in the comments were going to bring them up, so allow me to briefly cover a few of them. Annie, a Roblox player who burned their own house down after being fed her own dog by her abusive mother. Her soul comes back to haunt the game. Gauze, a clown with a fully fleshed out backstory. Rust010, a user with a series of horror games, and there's much more. One Roblox myth some of you guys mentioned in the previous two videos was about a game titled Vault 8166. I never really heard about this myth until recently, but I felt like it was fun enough to talk about. The story goes that Vault 8166 was a remote server where unexplainable things could happen. It's said that Vault 8166 was the birthplace of many of Roblox's most dangerous exploits. There are multiple levels. Not only that, this secret place also provides hackers with users' personal information. The origins of this place are unknown, but its first mention was on November 15 of 2016, when an anonymous user created a forum thread mentioning how he was testing out a teleporter and stumbled across this place. The forum was then nowhere to be found. Footage of this facility would be leaked, giving us details about an entity that serves as a guardian of the facility. Yeah, just a fun horror story I wanted to bring up because a lot of you guys brought it up in the previous videos, but it also stood out to me compared to most myths. It was a whole game with an ominous aura. Oh yeah, go play Forsaken. Imagine this, it's 2009 and Call of Duty World at War releases. You discover that there's a new game mode after beating the campaign, called Zombies. This new mode where you fight down hordes of zombies, and at the moment, the only map available is a map called Nacht der Untoten, which is German for Night of the Living Dead. Yet one day you hear a rumor that reaching wave 100 unlocks a secret boss, an undead version of the on-screen painter, if you know who I'm referring to. Those kinds of numbers were seemingly impossible to reach. You end up watching some videos on this novel site called YouTube and you see that people were able to reach wave 100. Yet, there's no sign of a secret boss. Despite how ridiculous this all sounds, COD Zombies players actually believed and spread the myth that a zombie Führer was a secret boss if you reached wave 100. There wasn't a lot I could find regarding this myth, but based on an Amino post, a couple Reddit threads, and this YouTube video, this was something a decent amount of people were fooled by. Not only was the internet an entirely different place back then, but COD Zombies was really new. Once it got debunked, the myth started to die down. For those wondering what this myth could have looked like if it were true, there is a custom map for Black Ops 3 that does contain a zombie H-Man. On August 28, 2009, a YouTube user named Joey Lover uploaded a tutorial on finding a ghost version of the character Samantha in the map Doris. Here's how the tutorial went.
Step 1. Be Dr. Richtofen. Step 2. Have a good team. Step 3. Open the first door. Step 4. Open the second door. Step 5. Get monkey bombs. Step 6. Turn on the power and link it. Step 7. Must get past dog round. Step 8. Teleport once. Step 9. You or someone else should upgrade a weapon. Step 10. Turn on the fly trap. And make sure you get someone who actually knows what that is. Step 11. Get the mainframe to flash and the toys will fly over it. Step 12. Find the toys. Step 12.2. Find toys. Throw the monkey while killing the others. Step 13. Throw the monkey when he says, "You're not Sam." And for some unknown reason, the player who is Dr. Richtofen goes into the teleporter. Now, turn on the radio and keep an eye out because you'll see a ghost of Samantha playing with the monkey bomb you threw. But you're only going to see her for a split second.
As you just saw, the Reagan McNeil face from The Exorcist appears and jump scares the audience. The video then ends with it saying, "I love you all, subscribe." Based on the comments to this video, this tutorial was something people actually believed and were traumatized by. Now this video is new to me, but it feels so familiar. This video just screamed old YouTube, no pun intended. Gameplay followed by a screamer. Watching it filled me up with so much nostalgia, and I can imagine the ones who did see this video back then, having that feeling times 10. It's no wonder that Minecraft became one of the most popular games in existence. It's considered by many to be a relaxing experience, yet it can also be the complete opposite. My earliest memory of Minecraft was when I was playing the light version of Pocket Edition. I was on survival and everything was going okay. I was building, exploring, everything you usually do in a typical game of Minecraft. But then, it turned night and everything went dark. To me, this was an incredibly new and immersive experience. At the same time, it was kind of scary. I think you know where this is leading up. Anyone who's played the game for a while has known about this pale-eyed figure, a being that was known to lurk in the shadows of the overworld. Out of everything on the list, Herobrine was the one with the biggest impact on me. A lot of the time when playing the game, I was afraid he'd come at any moment. I'd take a double take to make sure I wasn't hallucinating him. I would sometimes build the totem to summon him, only to regret what I did and destroy it immediately. During elementary school, he was a hot topic. He was our Bloody Mary, our Headless Horseman. I saw so many videos of Herobrine, and watching them now, it's so obvious they're fake. But back then, I was a stupid little kid, so of course I believed they were real. Eventually, I grew up and stopped believing in Herobrine. Still, a part of me wishes he were real. Now, Herobrine's appearance is simply the default skin of Steve with no pupils. How did such a simple design and a cheesy concept become a symbol of fear among young Minecrafters? I think the first thing we have to do is start at the beginning. Our story begins on July 31st of 2010. A Minecraft forum user going by Flaky would copy and paste the 4chan/V post they saw about a player detailing their experiences when mining in a cave. Everything in this forum thread was regarding a video of the 13.ogg music disc with a cave background. In said background, there were 2 white pixels. Not to mention, music discs were recently introduced and were hard to obtain. 13.ogg was different from the rest of Minecraft's soundtrack. It was a lot more ambient and unsettling. Because of that, people had fears and theories about it.
I think I'm going crazy. I abandoned my mine due to strange stuff happening, like blocks coming out of nowhere and my torches going missing. It was really strange. But yeah, I abandoned it because it really creeped me out for some reason. The strange thing is though, I still hear the cave ambience quite far away from the mine. But recently I've been hearing really strange things around the building I built around it. It feels like whispers. It's strange really. I feel like going back down there, but I don't really want to because of the creepy stuff that happens down there, plus I need a lot more torches. It just seems that cave is alive and angry at me.
Keep in mind, the cave ambient noises were a newly added feature. Throughout the first half of this thread, we learn that the user sealed up this cave, only to come across it again in a tragic shift of fate. When in said cave, they found a couple of chests, one of which contained a music disc. Afterwards, they decided to run back to their base to gather some diamonds to craft a jukebox. Luckily, they were able to get a diamond, but there was something that awaited them. We get the following monologue.
I slowly poked my head down. It was dark. Nothing could be seen, except for 2 white dots, next to each other like eyes. Something was down there looking into my eyes. I felt like I was looking at death itself. I went dizzy and fell backwards into a solid object, the door which was open just seconds ago. I bashed my way through it and through the other door outside. It was still night, but I didn't care. I ran back to my shack with my heart pounding, my chest like it wanted to escape live.
The following day, Minecraft forum user named Endorphine would post a thread that said this.
Jesus Christ, I can't do it anymore. I can't take it anymore. I can't even go back home. I can't go into my mines. I can't do anything anymore but slowly try and build something under the frozen ocean. And it's all because of 2 little pixels. 2 pixels. 2 white pixels. I haven't even seen them myself except in screenshots. I know it's there though, waiting in the mines, watching me from my tower's balcony while I'm outside. I can't see it through the constant snowfall, but I know it's there and I know it can see me. The white eyes myth, surrounding ambient noises. It started a couple weeks ago, after a Secret Friday update. Some people started reporting seeing a pair of white pixels whenever an underground ambient noise is triggered. I figured it was just a bug or something, maybe some way he did it to trigger the sounds themselves. I didn't hear much more about it for a while. Then all of a sudden recently I've been seeing reported sightings everywhere, and a supposed screenshot of them. This is the picture. I can't even bear to let it load. I had to do a quick tab copy and close before I saw those eyes again. Those eyes. Jesus Christ.
A user named Blaster would reply to this comment, saying it's just a bug, only for him to say,
No, you're wrong. It's White Eyes, as we named her.
On August 24, another story of the White Eyes would appear under a thread titled Minecraft Horror. What made this one stand out was that it was the first instance of White Eyes, or Herobrine, being given the appearance of a default skin with plain white eyes. Eventually, the entity would take the name Herobrine and be attributed as Notch's dead brother. Yet the origins of either of these characteristics are unknown, but the earliest trace of a fully characterized Herobrine goes back to a deleted image from 4chan/Xboard posted on August 31st, 2010. The board was known to contain the paranormal. Here's what it has to say.
I had recently spawned a new world in single-player Minecraft. Everything was normal at first as I began chopping down trees and crafting a workbench. I noticed something move amongst the dense fog. I have a very slow computer, so I have to play with tiny render distance. I thought it was a cow, so I pursued it, hoping to grab some hides for armor. It wasn't a cow, though. Looking back at me was another character with the default skin, but his eyes were empty. I saw no name pop up, and I double-checked to make sure I wasn't in multiplayer mode. He didn't stay long. He looked at me and quickly ran into the fog. I pursued it out of curiosity, but he was gone. I continued on with the game, not really sure what to think, as I expanded the world. I saw things that seemed out of place for the random map generator to make. 2x2 tunnels in the rocks, small perfect pyramids made out of sand in the ocean, and groves of trees with all their leaves cut off. I would constantly think I saw the other player in the deep fog, but I never got a better look at him. I tried increasing my render distance to far whenever I thought I saw him, but it was to no avail. I saved the map and went on the forum to see if anyone else had found the pseudo player. There were none. I created my own topic telling of the man and asked if anyone had a similar experience. The post was deleted within 5 minutes. I tried again, and the topic was deleted even faster. I received a PM from username Herobrine containing one word: stop. When I went to look at Herobrine's profile, the page 404'd. I then received an email from another forum user. He claimed the mods can read the forum user messages, so we were safer using email. The emailer claimed that he'd seen the mysterious player too, and had a small directory of other users who had seen him as well. Their worlds were littered with obviously man-made features as well, and described their mystery player to have no pupils. About a month passed till I heard from my informant again. Some of the people who had encountered the mysterious man had looked into the name Herobrine and found that name to be frequently used by a Swedish gamer. After some further information gathering, it was revealed to be the brother of Notch, the game's developer. I personally emailed Notch and asked if he had a brother. It took him a while, but he emailed me back a very short message. I did, but he's no longer with us. Notch. I haven't seen the mystery man since our first encounter, and I haven't noticed any changes to the world other than my own. I was able to press print screen when I first saw him. Here's the only evidence of his existence.
We then see an image of this Herobrine encounter. This image is probably the most iconic image of Herobrine out there. If I were to make an assumption, it's likely a slapped-on PNG. A streamer named Brocraft eventually discovered the Herobrine story and would edit several screenshots with Herobrine in them to get a scare out of his audience. From there, he decided to stage an elaborate hoax in one of his streams. He would change the texture of a painting to display Herobrine and place it in his world. His stream would then start as normal gameplay until he came face to face with the painting, where he would then pretend to be shaken up as a result. The clip was spread around and debates arose on whether or not it was real. Copeland followed this video up by posting links in his chat that led to a website labeled as ghostinthestream.net/him.html. This site would probably be the inspiration for Herobrine's nickname, Him. There would be a picture of Steve with realistic rolling eyes, and below it there was jumbled up text that, when deciphered, revealed to be an edited version of a creepypasta known as Wake Up. The Brocraft streams would eventually be deleted and become lost media for many years. YouTuber Blame It On Jorge made a video detailing the search for this stream, and in the comments, a user actually downloaded the streams and later uploaded them. Herobrine's popularity started to boost, and he quickly became a big figure among the Minecraft community, even attracting the attention of Notch. Notch would have to debunk Herobrine's existence and explain that he doesn't have a brother, except for a half-brother he never met, though he'd hint at his potential addition in the future. Naturally, the number of sightings started to increase as well. Many were due to how easy it is to change your Minecraft skin, but also because of mods. On December 10, 2010, HMod forums user T. Kelly would release the earliest version of a Herobrine mod in a server plugin called I Love You. This plugin then gave birth to the Herobrine ritual, which involved a totem of gold blocks, netherrack, redstone torches, mossy cobblestone, and then igniting their netherrack. The Herobrine in this mod exhibits the same behaviors he did from both the stories and the streams. Beyond sightings, many things such as troll videos and fan animations made use of Herobrine. Herobrine would make appearances in official Minecraft media, as well as be referenced in patch notes as being removed. In the Minecraft movie that released just this year in 2025, Henry's Enderman hallucination of Jack Black Steve has him with white eyes, while everyone else had purple eyes. A member of the production team would say it's a glitch, but many doubt this. The story of Herobrine led to the creation of like Minecraft creepypastas. Take for example, Null, a shadowy being that stalks players and messes up their worlds, or Entity 303, a fired Mojang employee out for revenge on both Mojang and Minecraft players alike. In both of these myths, Herobrine is seen as an anti-hero trying to defend us from them. Actually, the original White Eyes myth is more so connected to a whole different entity. Flaky, the user who posted the original White Eyes story, actually made a drawing of White Eyes. This depiction was rather of a black, skeletal, spider-like figure. Their only similarity is of course the white eyes. Artist Marcus Yu would combine the original depiction of the white eyes with Herobrine to create him, a dark fantasy horror story that takes place in the world of Minecraft. An amazing story, by the way. I don't think Herobrine's impact on Minecraft, the creepypasta community, and the internet as a whole should be ignored. Herobrine is a piece of online history we latch onto to remind us of the times when we were kids, just having fun on Minecraft and being scared by ridiculous things, rather than things that should actually scare us, like the economic state of the world or something like that. But if Herobrine isn't real, how did my uncle die of a Herobrine overdose? You may have noticed that I didn't talk about anything like Ben Drowned, Sonic.exe, or Godzilla SNES, nor did I mention things like the San Andreas Sasquatch. I wanted to stick to a theme of online games, but also those spooky mysteries that caused mass hysteria among people who played these games. The era of believing in video game urban legends is long gone. There's more integrity on the internet when it comes to games, yet the era of scary video game encounters still lives on, in the form of digital horror and ARGs. As you might have known, this was a part 3 to my whole Urban Legends series. Part 1 was a for fun video. It was a chance to talk about the virtual worlds I played as a kid, and the urban legends in them that scared the shit out of me. Animal Jam's F-Man 122, the Webkins Killer, and Roblox's John Doe, just to name a few. It did surprisingly well, and I was very surprised it did do well because even before it was uploaded, it was already my favorite video. Actually, it still is my favorite video I've made. Part 2 was to more so cover some myths I missed in part 1, but also to really experiment with my editing style, try to make it uniquely my own. As I approach 50k, which I probably have by the time this video's out, I wanted to make something to celebrate, a new favorite video to follow up my other favorite videos, a video I can say, damn, that was a masterpiece. Also, I just needed an excuse to talk about Herobrine. If you got this far, thank you. Take care of yourselves, and of course, as usual, please have yourselves a damn good one. Part 3. Now that one is very different from parts 1 and 2. I just thought these myths were so interesting to me. Like, they're a lot scarier than the entries in parts 1 and 2. If I were to make a comparison to part 3 to the other parts, think of the first 2 parts as the first 2 Evil Dead movies, and then part 3 is Army of Darkness. That's an old head reference right there. First and foremost, I want to thank ShaiiValley and WillySaintWilly for their voice roles. Not only did I want to use the greatest sounding voices ever, I wanted to honor my favorite video to make with my 2 YouTube brothers. So again, thanks to those 2. Part 3 really was a video I wanted to go all out on. It's kind of unfortunate because it's actually my worst performing video, but hey, fuck it, we ball. Whether you're rewatching the trilogy or you're here for the first time, I can't thank you enough for staying this long. Those last few videos completely took it out of me, so I wanted to relax a little bit before I go all out on videos again. You heard me say this 3 times already, and I'm going to say it again. Take care of yourselves, and of course, as usual, please have yourselves a damn good one.